Hey everybody, it's the professor here, as I've been called. Actually, I started wearing these and I love these hats. And so I've got some friends that have called me that and I've kind of stuck with me. So I just wanted to share a video really quick with you guys. There's a song that's been out for a real long time. And most of you know some of my testimony on how I got saved and how I came to know the Lord. But this song, you're going to think to yourself, wait a minute, why would he attribute that song to him or to his life? Well, there's a reason. And I'm going to tell you the song. It's called Wild Side, and it's by the band Motley Crue. I lived that entire song my whole entire life. Now, the only difference between Motley Crue and me is that, yes, they were, mainstream. Everybody, either wanted to get to know them. There were bands that wanted to be like them. There were family members that couldn't understand them. But in the end, for that band, it worked out for them. But that song, Wild Side, there's a verse in there that says, East LA at midnight, Papa won't be coming home tonight, found dead with his best friend's wife. That was pretty much my lifestyle growing up as a kid and when I became an adult. You know how they say sometimes alcohol or drugs can be passed down from, generation to generation. Well, that's what my father did. That's what I'm going to do. Well, that was kind of like who and how I was or I became. So because of that, and I was all of that before the song came out. So not that I was ever going to write a song like that, but yeah, that song hits me right here because for 45 years, I lived that song. I lived just about every part of that song. Yeah, the song's got drugs in it. I lived that too. It's got sex or perverted sex. I lived that too. There wasn't a day that didn't go by that I didn't get off of work and go out and look for sex. If I was out for 2 nights without sleep, it's because I was going to get what I was looking for. Now, when it came to drugs, not so much. I was more of a sex addict than I was a drug addict. I did take drugs. I took ludes. I used to smoke those. I did some cocaine. That was a trip. And I did some other things too, but I wasn't, I didn't go from like marijuana to LSD or to heroin. I didn't do none of that. I didn't even do any acid. In fact, I didn't even do any mushrooms, although when people hear me do my speeches, they think that somewhere down the road I might have done some mushrooms. I didn't do any mushrooms. So anyways, yeah, I know most of you know that song or know of that song. Well, you know of the group. I mean, you don't have to not be a man of God and not know that group or that song. Because before I was a man of God, I was listening to that stuff. I was into Judas Priest. I was into Iron Maiden. I was into some other bands. Another band called Accept. They were big. I was also into Black Sabbath. I was into Wasp because I was thinking I knew the guy's name Blackie Lawless, but I was into those kind of groups, and they had songs that I needed to hear if I was having a bad day, if something was going wrong. Now, I can flip the script and go all the way to 2002. And as I mentioned in my testimony or one of my previous videos, I got saved in an elevator. Now, obviously, the Lord for 45 years had to have known something that I didn't know, okay? Because I didn't tell anybody about my lifestyle and what I was doing, who I was doing it to, or who I was doing it with, or why I was doing it, or how much I was doing it. I didn't tell anybody. I didn't walk around like a fruitcake. I didn't, have my hands like this, and stuff. I didn't do none of that. I just was a normal human being. I just walked around the way that I did, and I tried to keep myself as secret as possible. Now, the Bible says the truth will set you free. Well, there's people that have died that found out the truth would have set them free had they accepted Jesus Christ. In fact, I'm reminded of the emperor back in the day that knew that Jesus Christ was who he was. That guy had nothing to gain, and he was an emperor for Roman. So, getting back to where I was at, I'm in an elevator at work, and this young, skinny black guy is singing about Jesus. And then he prophesied over my life. And he was telling me things that I didn't tell anybody. There was just no way. And I was like, wait a second. How is it on earth that you guys, let's see, that you guys, I'm confused. I'm lost. I'm going to get out of this video. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep this video going. I've lost everybody. I get that. I did tell everybody in one of my videos, I believe, that I do have ADHD. So it's really hard for me to focus. But I didn't tell anybody about my lifestyle. And this guy literally stood in that elevator and told me the stuff that I was doing. And there's only one way he knew that. And that's because God spoke it to him. And God told him, this is the guy you're going to lead to Christ. I'm amazed. I'm shocked that after 45 years, I get to find out the real truth about who Jesus was. I grew up a Catholic, and when you're a Catholic, you're not going to get what the Bible tells you actually need. And so, anyways, so I got all the way up to the point of where, I accepted the Lord, and I thought, I'll just go about my merry way. No, I was still living the song Wild Side. I was still doing that. I didn't really know better. It wasn't until later on when I started to get mentors in my life that got me to understand why the Bible says what it says when it comes to sexuality. Now, I know there's people out there that say, well, God hasn't punished me yet, so I guess what I'm doing isn't wrong. Now, I look at them and I say, well, see, that's where you're partially wrong. When I say partially wrong instead of totally wrong, you mentioned God, and that's correct in the sense that you mentioned that you know God. The wrong part is not knowing what the Bible actually says about sexuality. Now, I'm hoping somebody watches this video, and yeah, forgive me for having the ADHD moment there for a minute, but I'm hoping somebody watches this video, and I'm hoping somebody comments and can tell me something different in the Bible, because I literally lived the wild side even after I accepted the Lord. I literally lived that until I met my wife. But even then, I was still struggling, and I was still living the wild side. There's actually another song that I was living. It's a song by Kansas. I'll do another video about that song. But anyways, I just got on here real quick and just wanted to throw that out there. I was listening to the Wild Side earlier, and that's why I said, I'm going to make this video. I think we all have a song that really defines us. And that I don't want that song played when I'm when I have my funeral, no, I don't want that. I do have a song for that. I'll do a video about that song at my funeral. But most of you know that I've been writing a book that has been utterly, utterly fantastic. I'm in the process of getting it fully completed. So I had to get an editor that actually knew what they were doing. So I've spent some decent time and money with this book. It's called We Shouldn't Be Alive, and it's based off of people's life stories. And these are people that came to know Jesus, but not the way that you expect. It's not like they got high one night, bumped their head, and found Jesus. No. These are people that fell off of mountains and survived. These are people that fell off of mountains and were told would never walk again, but they're walking. They were told they'd never have children, but they have children. These are people that were taking any and every drug known to man, and basically getting to the point of where they were putting jet fuel in their bodies, injecting it pretty much, and surviving and living to tell their story. So I'm excited for this book. I look forward to getting this book out there, to getting the design out there, getting this book out there for the next generation. I actually was asked, what was I going to leave behind for the next generation, and how was it going to impact their lives? And this book is going to do that. Now, I didn't know I was going to write a book. If you ever saw me writing, you would look at me and say, oh, you got a comma where it shouldn't be. You got a quotation mark here. You should have an exclamation point there, not a period. Just question marks where they shouldn't be. And I didn't do well in school, and that's because of my ADHD. I didn't find out I had that till I got out of high school. So, yeah, I lived the wild life and the wild side, or on the wild side, as the song says. I lived that most of my life, growing up with my parents, watching them, and then my brother, and then watching him, and then me becoming an adult and just living this reckless and abandoned lifestyle. I should have died. God should have taken me out when I was ODing. God should have taken me out then when I was in a hospital with some rare disease or disorder that they couldn't even come up with a name for. I should have died there. I literally should be dead. And then when I was frustrated about my marriage and I was going down roads I shouldn't have gone, and I went down some of the darkest roads, okay? I know that I should not be alive. And my story and my testimony is in the book, and I thought I had a testimony, and then I started getting these other testimonies, and let me tell you something. I can't tell you what a blessing it is for these guys. I got a friend, sorry about this. I got a friend, Cliff, gave his testimony. I got a brother, Deacon Ronnie, gave his testimony. I've got a friend, Sister Crystal, gave her testimony. There's a lot of testimonies in this book, and I can honestly say that I'm blown away by these people going home or just praying, and then all of a sudden, here we go. I get their stories for the book. I did have one amazing story that he wanted to be taken out of the book. I wish he would have kept it in there, but his story was really hard and complex, and it was long, and it was obviously complex. So anyways, I'm sharing this with you guys, and I'm really sorry about how this is going, and my ADHD's, getting in the way. So if you watch my videos, you're going to know, oh yeah, he's got ADHD. 1 second he's talking about penguins in Madagascar, the next minute he's talking about something he wrote or something. So I do have a tendency to do that. I'll try to be a little bit more focused, get my brain to work a little bit harder on my videos. But I love you guys, and I'll see you down the road. Peace.